Hey, Eric.
Hey, John. How's it going tonight?
It's going well. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Had our first weekend as captain of my Rocket League team, and we went 8-4, and we're currently in first place. So, yay! We'll see if it continues.
Congratulations
this week.
Congratulations. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
8-4.
Yeah,
and still in first place. That must be pretty competitive then.
It is. Yeah, it's you play 4 series, 3 games each against 2 different teams. So 6 games. Anyways, I don't need to explain the whole thing, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's fun. So good stuff.
That's awesome. All right, I will be rooting for you this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our team is the Angels.
Oh, okay.
So because I'm
not Hell's
angelic,
Angels,
of course. No.
The Heavens Angels.
Yeah, and my boy this weekend as well had his first training day at the zoo. So what he's all set up for, he's super excited about it.
That's awesome.
So we're looking forward to that. We practiced driving to the Max so that he can take the train into the zoo. So we practiced that again, and we drove up there. I rode the train with him to the zoo, then I left, and then he rode the train by himself back from the zoo, and then I picked him up from the park and ride. So
cool.
But in a couple weeks, he'll just do that all himself.
Doing that,
and he's excited about it.
That's awesome. Does he know where he'll be, or he'll just rotate between a number of different stations?
There's 3 stations. He'll either be in front of the predators, or he'll be in with the elephants, or he'll be with the polar bears. So those are the 3, he has all the papers to learn about fun facts about all those, lions and tigers, plus polar bears and elephants. So depending on where he's at, and it'll be fun. He's excited about it.
Oh yeah, no, that seems like a great job.
Yeah,
the elephant. I'd want to be at the elephants. I think they're cool. Been a long time since I've been there.
Their new elephant. You've been there since they've changed the elephant enclosure. Like they've changed all the enclosures, right? You've been since they've remodeled
I think we had one of the people. We're acquainted with somebody who did some of the engineering for that. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a cool thing. Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good luck to him. I'm sure the first couple of days of having to do it all by himself will be a little nerve-wracking, but then, you get into a routine and you know exactly what to expect. And
he knows how to point out bathrooms and how to point out the exits. So.
Exactly. Where's the nearest bathroom? That's
right. So
I'm sure at some point they'll be able to spot the people
coming.
You want to go that way.
Yeah. He can start giving directions before they arrive. Yeah.
No, it's good. That's awesome.
How about you?
Well,
I know this week is a busy week for you.
Yes, this week is graduation week. So Friday night is graduation, high school graduation. And so lots of stuff. I have my parents are here. We've got stuff. We've still got something every night. But yeah, so let's see. So my updates from this weekend, I think all I did was work on Sunday outside, just tons of stuff. But bees. I did bees. So the split that I did when I got the nukes is rocking and rolling. Queen is back. Queen is laying up a storm. They got promoted into the big box, and that was awesome.
Nice.
The queen that I split off the week before is doing good, so she's great. The split that I did on top of the Snowgrove board, raising queen cells, so good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Good to go.
Okay.
And then the 2 that I took out and put in the queen castle, I don't think they were going to make it. They each had 2 queen cells when I put them over there, but they did not seem to have queen cells when I went in on Saturday. And so I think that I don't know what they did, but I think that they were those bees were not going to make it. So I actually combined them. I took out one of the dividing boards, put all 4 frames on one side, and then gave them a 5th frame of just eggs so they can raise another one. And so I now will leave them alone for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So they're the only questionable one, I think. The other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other 6 are I'm pretty confident about. So there you go. I 1 to 6, but I bought 2. So it's all bee math. It's all bee math.
Yeah. Bee math. Gotcha.
And now if I can only figure out and my wife's like, stop messing with the bees. You only have 2 things you need to figure out. 1, help them survive the winter. 2, stop messing with them. Let them make honey. So anyway, but we'll see. It's good, I think. Oh, and I put supers on this weekend on 3 of the colonies. So
honey making.
I will honey. Yep. That's where the honey goes. So this coming Saturday, I will have a chance to go in and see if they're putting some honey up top. And if so, maybe I'll get honey this year. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it'll be fun. It'll be all good. Oh, and the other fun thing we did on Saturday was we went to. It was almost like a matinee. We had symphony tickets, and it was Saturday afternoon at 2 because evidently there was a Starlight Parade or something like that in Portland this past weekend.
Rose Festival. Yeah.
Okay.
Rose Festival.
So anyway, so the normal tickets were done in the afternoon. But they had 2 things were cool about this. They had a guest soloist who plays the bass. So this is actually why we had 4 tickets. So my kids came because my older boy plays the bass for the high school band. And I've never seen a bass soloist or a bassist who, it was like a concerto for bass or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he totally was out front. So he had composed the first 2 pieces. And which were awesome. The first was just him. The second one was him and a violinist and then some strings for backing up. But, he had composed that it had been commissioned by, famous New York Symphony. I don't remember. Sorry. I have no brain cells. Anyway, we were like, whoa, what is up with this? And then he was amazing on the bass. And then he played a whole bass, 3 movement, concerto. And it said in the program that that had a 6 octave range, which is insane.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, he was playing on the highest string. As I don't know if it would have been possible for him to hold down the string any closer to where he was using the bow, right? At the very edge of the fingerboard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. It was very cool. It was a cool experience. So that was the other fun thing we did this weekend.
Cool.
It was good. It's good. So, and then this Friday is graduation, and
nice.
Gonna be crazy. It is what it is. All right. I didn't throw anything in follow up. You have topics for me?
Yeah. So my topic, I guess, was this one is from Kaspersky, so their own internal blog. And the interesting thing about this one is it was suspicious activity that they noticed on their own corporate Wi-Fi network.
Oh.
And they tracked it down to iOS phones, so iPhones. And, you can't, inspecting iOS devices it's not that easy, right? They're not built to have people run software on them to do analysis of, the kind of things that you would do to look for malicious software. So what they ended up doing was creating offline backups of the devices.
Okay.
And then there's this tool, the mobile verification toolkit, that allowed them to inspect the backups, and they discovered traces of a compromise. And so what the tool does is apparently it creates kind of this timeline of what the events for you so that you can go back and see what the events. And so what it appears to have happened is the target iOS device gets a message through iMessage with an attachment that contains the exploit. And then without any user interaction, that message triggers
0 click.
Yes, a vulnerability that leads to some code execution. And then that code within that exploit downloads several other things from a command and control server, and that includes an additional separate exploit for privilege escalation. So now they went from being a user on the device to being owner of the device. And then after successful exploitation, apparently the final payload is downloaded, and it's a fully featured APT platform. And then the initial message and the exploit in the attachment is deleted. So,
kind of cleans up after itself.
Yeah, you don't notice it. It does whatever it does, and then it disappears. So the interesting thing as well, I guess there's multiple interesting things. The other thing is this tool, this thing that happens, does not support persistence, meaning it doesn't save itself out to disk. So if you reboot the phone,
it goes away.
It goes away because it's only there as long as the phone is on, and it can stay resident in memory. And so they've traced that back all the way to 2019.
Wow.
And still works in iOS 15.7 and iOS 17. I guess there's WWDC just was this last week, and they started talking about iOS 17. So code runs with root privileges, collects system and user information, and then can run arbitrary code downloaded from the command and control server. So one point here would be, maybe reboot your phone every once in a while.
Wow.
These types of attacks now don't even bother with writing anything to the file system. They'll just keep everything in memory, because who turns their phone off anymore, right? I don't think I've rebooted my phone on a whim in a while.
The last time the battery died.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Or an OS got upgraded. So was there information on there that they believe some of the people working at Kaspersky were actually targeted?
So they go. The blog post is really long, as you might expect, and they don't go into details about who or why or what the expectation was. It's more of a, hey, we noticed this on our own network. We don't know why. We don't know who they are. But here's how you can, follow along to see if it's on your device too. So they have all the details in it, but they don't mention anything about why or who at Kaspersky was exploited. So it may have just been coincidence that multiple users at Kaspersky had that on their device. They may have, it may be other than just Kaspersky employees, but Kaspersky noticed it on their own corporate Wi-Fi network with their own tools, security and forensic tools that they use internally. They noticed some different behavior on...
didn't we talk it must have been like last year, maybe, about a NSO exploit that was a 0-click that used some, like a TIFF parsing library, or like some relatively old image file format that the underlying iOS image library supported, but was kind of ancient code in the Paleolithic era of iOS. Actually, it'd be the progenitors of iOS, Linux. They didn't say what the file was that was sent, the type of the file.
No, it just collected details, user and system details of the device, and sent it off. And it could run other things. And it's got a list of CNC domains, the command and control domains. It got Wireshark dumps of what the network is doing and what it's doing on the wire. But the fix was turn your phone off. So there's just
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll reboot my phone tonight.
Yeah, maybe. So there you go. That's
Interesting
the one thing I saw this week.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm sort of skimming the article, but the single most reliable indicator we discovered is the presence of data usage lines mentioning the process backup agent. This is a deprecated binary that should not appear in the timeline. However, it is important to note there is a binary named backup agent 2 that is not an indicator of compromise. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
When engineers are left to name things.
Yeah.
Replace it.
Well,
increment
backup agent 2.
Done.
Oh, okay. It's time for backup agent 3. Okay. Well, there you go. Wow, that's a good article, Eric. I have like 1.5 articles tonight. Because the half article is really just they just, I think it was yesterday, released a new version of Chrome that has a fix for a vulnerability. The quote is, Google is aware that an exploit for CV 2023-3079 exists in the wild. But there was not a lot on their blog post that says what anything is. And if you look up the CVE out on the NVD, it does not say anything. It basically says type confusion in V8 in Google Chrome prior to 114.05.735.110 allowed a remote hijacker to potentially exploit heap corruption via a crafted HTML page.
Yeah. So in other words, just go update Chrome. Is really all
update
I was trying
Chrome.
to tell you.
Update Chrome.
Got it.
Yeah, update Chrome. Reboot your phone.
Reboot your phone. Update
Reboot
Chrome,
your laptop
and
so that it will restart Chrome and Chrome will update itself and all will be well. Well, the other thing I guess I liked on this article was it was a Google tag person, Clement Lacine, that reported it on June 1st. So none of this 90-day time to patch before something comes out.
Right.
They're on like more the 5-day plan. So well done, Chrome team.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of data on it. So that's the first thing.
Reboot your phone.
Although they also did say there's a bunch of other fixes in the new build and it says various fixes from internal audits, fuzzing, and other initiatives. Many of our security bugs are detected using address sanitizer, memory sanitizer, undefined behavior sanitizer, control flow integrity, libfuzzer, or AFL.
Okay.
I like all the automation that they've done for, especially with the libfuzzer. For auto detecting unexpected behavior. So
nice.
I think that's awesome. Okay, the other article I brought tonight. So it's funny, you had a Kaspersky article. I have a BitDefender article. This is about tens of thousands of compromised Android apps found using anomaly detection technology. So, first and foremost, so these are all. Oh yeah, I said it in the title. Android apps. It said none of these are distributed from
Google Play Store,
like Google Play. It said not in any official stores was the quote. So I don't know what else constitutes an official store.
I think Samsung has their own official store. There's a few other vendors that have their own official stores.
And I kind of assumed. Yeah. I don't know if Amazon still running a store for their devices. But anyway, it said the distribution worldwide is all the more impressive given it's not in any official stores. So long as you've only installed apps from Google Play, you're probably fine. Mm-hmm. But an interesting thing here is that they said that the way they detected these, what was it, 60,000? I thought it said 60,000, but maybe it just says tens of thousands in the title. Anyway, the way they detected them was with a behavioral-based anomaly detection scanner of some sort. Probably, and again, they didn't actually say this, but this is John hypothesizing. probably, a tripwire of some sort if an app unexpectedly shows a full screen ad or something along those lines. Because it was clear at the end of the day that the command and control server could tell the compromised app to show an ad in various different ways. Because that's actually the monetization that it's currently being used for at the moment, is to push adware. It says to push adware to Android devices with the purpose of driving revenue. They could switch tactics, but, and deploy banking Trojans and et cetera. But to date, oh yeah, here it is. This is the quote. To date, BitDefender has discovered 60,000 completely different samples, unique apps, carrying the adware, and we suspect there is much more in the wild.
Wow.
Yeah. The malware has been live since at least October of 22 and is noteworthy because without the new app anomaly technology, it would likely have been able to stay undetected. Because of the high number of unique samples discovered, the operation is most likely fully automated.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says not in any official stores. The malware operators, however, still need to persuade users to download and install third-party apps.
Yep.
So they've disguised their threat on highly sought-after items you can't find in official stores, even if they were legitimate. In other situations, the apps simply mimic the real ones published in the Play Store. But then they showed, I threw a picture in the notes, but they showed part of this is, social engineering, right? You search for the ad you want or the app you want. All the metadata in wherever you're looking for it probably looks legit. You click on it, and then they show an error screen that says, error, application is unavailable in your region. Tap OK to uninstall. You tap OK, it goes away, but there is still an app. It is still installed with just a single Unicode character. So if you scroll all the way down and look at app info of what's installed, it'll be at the very, very bottom, and it won't actually show as with a name. It'll just be a blank. And so, it has no icon in the launcher, and a UTF character in the label. So you think that there was just an error. The user thinks there was just an error. They probably didn't do anything, and nothing happens. So what does the application do? After it's installed, it says the application sleeps for 2 hours and registers 2 actions to be called on boot or when the user starts interacting with the device by unlocking the phone. The second action, aka the user, doing something when the user unlocks their phone, the second action is disabled for the first few days. So, nothing is different or nothing is wrong with your phone. And then a couple of days later, it starts behaving oddly. But are you going to tie that back to the fact that you had an app fail to install 2 or 3 days ago? I mean, maybe. But, social engineering is about trying to trick you into not connecting the two things. So then it says every 2 hours after that, the alarm is triggered and a request to the server, so a command and control server, is made and another alarm is registered. It says the server can choose to initialize the adware phase at an unknown time interval. So, and then there's a bunch of commands that the server can do. None, Android standard, Android full screen, Android square, Android link. These are all add things. Android notification, Android widget, a browser tab, an offer, a video, MRAID. I don't know what that is. MRAID full screen, blah, blah, blah. So it says, as you can see, it's ready to serve links, notifications, full screen videos, open tabs in browsers, and more.
Cool.
Quite a lot. I think I don't think I pulled out too much else about this, but if you have ever downloaded something from a not the Google Play store, maybe look at your installed apps and see if there's something at the very, very, very bottom of the list that doesn't have a name.
Alrighty.
There you go. How about something fun?
Okay, so my something fun is, I just thought this was kind of cool. So researchers have taken, I'm reading a little bit, the small but necessary step towards realizing a long-standing dream, harvesting solar energy in space and beaming it down to Earth. So success. We've now actually an experimenter from Caltech launched a satellite steered power in a microwave beam onto targets in space and sent some of that power to a detector on Earth, right? So now we've proven that we can harvest solar energy, convert it to microwaves and microwave beams, and send that down to Earth. And so some of the fun facts in this article is this has been proposed and thought of a long time ago. NASA planned on demonstrating this during the 1970s energy crisis, but the technology at the time, carried aloft by the space shuttle and the assembled astronauts, the mission would have cost over $1 trillion. So nobody took it seriously.
What?
In the 1970s. That's how much it would have cost to do this. But space has changed. We're sending stuff up into space all the time now. Solar cells, microwave beams are way cheaper, way more efficient. Robots capable of assembling structures will be in orbit soon. SpaceX has slashed the cost of launches for lots of companies. Anyway, so cool stuff. We're now harvesting solar energy out in space where it's not being diminished, but not being interfered with on its way down to Earth through our atmosphere, and it gets harvested out in space and sent down. They lit up some LEDs with 200 milliwatts of power sent from space to a receiver on Earth. Proof of concept, but I thought it was kind of cool. So that's my something fun.
What? The microwave transmitter was an array of 32 flat antennas packed onto a surface slightly larger than a dinner plate. By varying the timing of signals sent to the different antennas, the researchers could steer the array's beam. They pointed at a pair of microwave receivers about a forearm's distance away and switched the beam from one to the other at will, lighting up an LED on each. That's pretty cool. And they didn't set our atmosphere on fire or, hit a person with a laser, a la Real Genius.
So,
okay, that's cool.
Fun stuff.
That's cool. I gotta read. I'll have to go read the rest of that article. Okay. My something fun. Where's my something fun? My something fun is a Washington Post article. A catatonic woman awakened after 20 years. Her story may change psychiatry. So I forget where or how I saw this in one of my newsletters that I read every day, probably. But this was a woman. It said that, before she became a patient, April had been an outgoing, straight-A student majoring in accounting at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. But after a traumatic event when she was 21, April suddenly developed psychosis and became lost in a constant state of visual and auditory hallucinations. The former high school valedictorian could no longer communicate, bathe, or take care of herself. It says the young woman was catatonic, stuck at the nurse's station, unmoving, unblinking, and unknowing of where or who she was. So, diagnosed with a severe form of schizophrenia, an often devastating mental illness that affects approximately 1% of the global population. That seems huge.
Yeah.
1%?
Of the global population.
I read that like a couple of times. Yeah.
That's millions.
That seems huge. So, anyway, it says, and then this is like a Hollywood story or something like that. It says she was the first person I ever saw as a patient, said Sander Marks, director of precision psychiatry at Columbia University, who was still a medical student in 2000 when he first encountered April. She is, to this day, the sickest patient I've ever seen. So, but then, blah, 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 time goes on. Poor April is still stuck in various institutions with various treatments attempted over the years, but it says it would be nearly 2 decades before their paths crossed again. In 2018, it was another chance encounter that led him that, let's see, I didn't pull this out, but he said he was now he's, it's almost 20 years later, he's a surgeon or a head of psychiatry and has an intern that comes back kind of shaken by an experience he'd had with this woman who was catatonic and didn't move. And this Sander Mark says, was her name April? And then, yes, it turns out it was. So anyway, he goes back. He gets permission from the family to do a complete medical workup. They realize that although she had whatever her symptoms are indistinguishable from schizophrenia, she also has lupus, which is a autoimmune condition, which is treatable, but was attacking her brain. And so they come up with this regimen of treatments. I think I pulled it up. It said the medical team set to work counteracting April's rampaging immune system with an extensive immunotherapy treatment for neuropsychiatric lupus. Every month for 6 months, April received short, powerful pulses of intravenous steroids for 5 days, plus a single dose of cyclophosphamide, a heavy-duty immunosuppressive drug used in chemotherapy and borrowed from the field of oncology. She was also treated with another thing, something. Grueling regimen requiring a month-long break between each of the 6 rounds to allow the immune system to recover. But look at those pictures of the clocks. Evidently, drawing a clock is one of the actions that they try and take with patients to have them tell what they're doing. Draw a clock that says 10 past 11. And the first clock there's some lines on the page, but it's not there. The second one now has a circle, but nothing's really in its right place. And then the third, it says post-third cyclo treatment, looks like a clock. Anyway, so it goes on about, eventually she wakes up. She winds up getting discharged. She still remembers. They talked a little bit about it. She remembers what happened before she became ill. It said that when her father hopped on a video call, April remarked, "Oh, you lost your hair." But I mean, I guess it's probably told my wife about this story, and she said, well, it's probably a blessing. She didn't remember the 20 years, sort of in between.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
But anyway, there was information on this. Clearly not all schizophrenia patients would have this, and it's not clear how many would, but for those that can, how amazing that, maybe it is. There's a physical cause with the autoimmune disease. So the article's way, way longer.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of stuff in here, a lot more about the people and the doctors and what they did and, et cetera, et cetera. But I read this article and was like, wow, I'm so using that for my something fun. So there you go.
It is. That's cool. Science for the win.
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
All right, dude.
All right, my friend. Well, have a great rest of your week. I will talk to you.
We'll see you later.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Eric.